station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And coming up in the news at noon, massive spending cuts can impact your commute on Metro. We got the latest details from this morning's WMATA meeting about the upcoming budget deficit. And later, time is running out for the passengers in the missing submersible, but rescuers say they're not giving up. The latest developments this hour.
And so far this morning, we're catching a break from the steadier rainfall, but we still have some light drizzle to contend with. Now, as we head on into the end of the week, will some steadier rain and storms make a return? We'll have your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Damon. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Breaking now, D.C. police are investigating a body found in the Anacostia River. Now, this is a live look at the scene. We're told the D.C. Fire and EMS officials originally started this as a water rescue until they discovered the person was already deceased. Now, this is an active investigation. We'll bring you more information as they come into the newsroom. Well, heads up, Metro riders. WMATA is projecting a $750 million deficit by July 2025 if things stay the same. Metro's Finance and Capital Committee just concluded a meeting about 30 minutes ago discussing the deficit and its impact. DC News Now's Tosin Vakili is at the Tinleytown Metro Station with more from the meeting.
It could be a potential 67% reduction to services. That is according to WMATA, and that would impact buses and trains. Now, that possible $750 million deficit could mean when you come to a metro station like this, trains could be running every 20 to 30 minutes on each line. Metro's Finance and Capital Committee met Thursday morning to discuss the projected $750 million deficit starting next July. That is July 2025. Officials are calling the deficit a, quote, transit death spiral. During the meeting, officials said, unlike other major city transit systems, Metro doesn't have dedicated funding sources. Officials say the projected deficit for fiscal year 2025 is $750 million and could be over $1 billion by fiscal year 2035. Officials say they are not trying to scare people, but to give an early warning.
This is real. This is not an every year occurrence. This is not standard operating procedure. I believe we very much need a stable, predictable, and sustainable funding source for Metro. And I fundamentally believe that needs to be both operating and capital.
That projected $750 million deficit starting next July, if things don't change, could translate to getting rid of 98 Metro bus lines, with the remaining 37 running at reduced frequency. And for the trains, besides going to 20 to 30 minutes on each line, the deficit could also mean no night service on Metro Rail, a thought that worries Metro riders.
That's a little scary. I mean, even today I'm getting off work at like 10, so that'd be pretty unfortunate if that was like right now. So it sounds like it's going to affect a lot of people. That would definitely affect my commute to work, which is not a good thing because it would mean I would have to leave home even earlier and get to spend less time with my family. So I wouldn't be a fan of that.
Metro officials showed the several ways they say they've been working to manage costs, which include non-revenue fleet reduction and elimination of some positions. Some other next steps include community information sessions and a budget development process. We're at the Tinleytown Metro Station. I'm Tosin Vakili for DC News Now.
Tosin, thank you. D.C. is once again the target of House Republicans. The newly proposed federal spending plan looks to restrict some of the district's policies, from traffic safety measures to HIV prevention. Residents say the interference by Congress is making them angry. In a new statement released by D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab, he said in part the budget proposal threatens the health and safety of everyone who either lives in, works in, or visits the district. Well, taking a look at specifics from that spending bill, it would ban federal and local funds from going to legalize marijuana in the district. It would also ban the use of automated traffic enforcement. The bill also looks to block funds for D.C.'s Reproductive Health and Non-Discrimination Act of 2014. That act makes sure that people living in D.C. are protected from discrimination by their employer based on their reproductive health decisions. Taking a live look outside that is, of course, the National Cathedral. The gloom apparently isn't going anywhere. Heavy fog blanketing parts of the district. Meteorologist Damon Matson joined us Latest check on the forecast. Damon, how are things looking this afternoon?
Well, believe it or not, Mark, that image right there of the National Cathedral, a little improved from much earlier this morning when that mist and drizzle was really at its peak. Now, we are still seeing that gray in the sky and even down near the surface because of all this rain we've picked up the last couple of days. It has been a massive help to our recent droughts, but it is, of course, the reason we continue to have such gray, misty, foggy conditions over the last couple of days. Mostly from yesterday, we have picked up right around or even above an inch of rainfall across the I-95 corridor into D.C. and southern Maryland. Rainfall total is a little less off to the west, but we did see a decent wave of rainfall move across the mountains of western Maryland and West Virginia last night. That's where we have some lingering light rain showers. Nothing to really write home about, though. Many of us on the drier side, outside of just some very light drizzle getting wrung out of the clouds here heading into the afternoon. And really, that's the way it's going to be. Much like yesterday, we're going to stay very cool in the 60s, very cloudy, but we don't really see any steady rain showers moving back into the picture until late this afternoon, going into the evening time as that storm system to our south finally starts to move right overhead. So there you go. We're going to be cool and soggy through the night tonight as that steadier rainfall begins to pick up in intensity. Now we bump up the temperatures as we go into your Friday, and that is going to create some scattered storms mixed in with some pockets of steadier rainfall. So things going to still be active as we head into the end of the week here. Are we talking about the potential for some localized flooding if that steadier rain does take shape? And will we finally be drying out by the weekend? We'll have a full look at your forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. As of this afternoon, we passed a critical 96-hour mark when experts believed that air would run out of the sub, but News Nation's Dre Clark explains why officials say that this is still a rescue mission and not a recovery effort.
As the search effort reaches day 4 today and time moves on, the oxygen supply on board the Titan may very well run dry today, and the reality now sets in that those 5 men on board may not make it out alive, but there is still a lot of hope, and crews are still headed to the search area, many of them carrying those ROVs, those remotely operated vehicles that are capable of giving searchers a deep dive look under the water. Meanwhile, the Titan has been missing since Sunday after it plunged into the North Atlantic Ocean with those 5 people on board, heading to take a research tour of the Titanic sitting on the ocean floor more than 12,000 feet down. 1 hour and 45 minutes after its descent, communications stopped, leading to what is now one of the most extensive search efforts ever. Military service members from multiple countries who specialize in water rescues and recoveries are now working together, side by side, desperately trying to find the Titan. Surface sonar linked to a Canadian aircraft detected a loud banging sound coming from under the search area. The Coast Guard says it's not sure what those noises are, but they came in half-hour intervals. Experts suggesting the noises may have been made by people on board the Titan. Recordings of the noises were sent to a U.S. Navy facility for analysis. But still, many experts believe it will be a miracle to find the 5 men alive. When asked when this search mission turns from rescue to recovery, the Coast Guard says they haven't seriously considered that possibility yet.
Sometimes we don't find what we're looking for, and you have to carefully consider all of the factors, and there are a lot of factors you consider. And then after you consider all of those factors, sometimes you're in a position where you have to make a tough decision. We're not there yet, but if we continue to search, potentially we could be at that point. But again, we're not there yet, and that's a discussion that we will have with the family long before I'm going to discuss that here publicly.
And the Coast Guard continues to describe this search effort as complicated and challenging because of the ever-changing wind and weather conditions, but also making it very clear that this remains a search and rescue effort. In Boston, I'm Dre Clark.
All right, thanks to Dre. And some changes are coming up next month for Marylanders in regard to cannabis use, along with some new laws going into effect July 1st. Our morning anchor Tanaya Wright has the details on what Marylanders need to know.
Big changes coming to Maryland starting next month. Anyone 21 years old or older will be able to buy marijuana from dispensaries. Now that is after a vote on the Maryland 2022 ballot legalize recreational marijuana. Taking a look at some changes that you should know about. People over 21 will be able to have up to 1.5 ounces of cannabis or up to 12 grams of concentrated cannabis. Meantime, police will no longer be able to stop someone or search them only because of cannabis-related evidence. That includes the smell of marijuana. And Maryland also facing the start of some other laws right now. They are set to start next month. Among them is a new requirement for public schools to provide Title IX information to students, parents, and staff. Another law will prohibit carrying or transporting a firearm in specific areas. Those areas include personal property and public spaces. The Department of Education will be required to make sure children with disabilities have access to programs that fit their needs. If public services cannot fit their needs, the child will be placed in an appropriate private program. The law will also require the state and certain counties to pay for those teachers' salaries as well. Tanaya Wright, DC News Now.